Press conference.
I'm not sure why the Ring magazine is being shown there as if the fighters are fighting for it. But anyway, TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360. Here is the second to last face-off before these guys get into the ring on Saturday. It's going to be $25 here in the States over on DAZN, the streaming platform. That's Reeno used to run Boxing Scene. I think he founded Boxing Scene. Sold it off, and now he's the COO of Ring Magazine. And basically, he's the head honcho. This is a Ring Magazine event. These are Ring Magazine events, as he said. So the promoters, from what I'm gathering from it, the promoters get a significant fee to be able to link their fighters, multiple promotions together. For example, you got Ben Shalom of Sky Sports and Eddie Hearn of DAZN being the promoters in this event, have multiple fighters from both stables in this event. The same thing goes when Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn have their events. It's looking like Turki Al-Sheikh's venture in the boxing with TKO is starting to take shape, and the ring is going to be the only belt that they're going to recognize when they start going forward with Dana White sometime next year in 2026. I'm going to let you hear what he had to say, and it makes a lot of sense with Rick Reeno, because he pretty much like came out firing in the press conference. Seemed like he was talking to Eddie, or talking about Eddie Hearn, but we don't know. The point is, the Ring magazine, they got a significant amount of money. Golden Boy sold it off. Remember, it was owned by Oscar De La Hoya. They sold it off to Turki Al-Sheikh, and they have like an unlimited budget. They're going to be putting on this event next weekend. They're going to be in Times Square for the Ryan Garcia, Rolly Romero, Devin Haney, Jose Ramirez, and Arnold Barboza, Teofimo Lopez fight. Then July the 12th, they're going to be putting on an event in Times Square, headlined by Shakur Stevens and William Cepeda, Edgar Berlanga, and Hamza Shiraz. They're going to be putting on an event in Alcatraz. You know, I fully enjoy what they're doing. By the way, Chris Eubank Jr. Listen, I like Chris Eubank Jr. You know, he moves differently. Obviously, he's in his mid-30s now, and he's got a lot of experience. I'm not fully counting Conor Benn out, and I want you to listen to what his father had to say. So basically, let's go talk. Let's see if they get both of the fighters after the face-off. By the way, this is live real time. This is the end of the final press conference. We're going to talk about all of the fights on the cards. So there's going to be some jump cuts. We're going to be here Saturday covering the entire card. Also, we're going to be streaming after the fight with some post-fight content. Take your time out, like the video, subscribe. So here's my spiel. I wasn't doing consistent content for a long time. So YouTube kicked me way back down in the algorithm. So I got to be consistent on YouTube for about a month. And they'll start promoting my content around. So a lot of you probably like, oh, TstreeT, you're back doing videos consistently. Yes, I am. So anyway, let's go talk about the fight. First, let's talk about the card. And then we're going to listen to Rick Reeno, what he had to say. And trust me, it's well worth it. You have Chris Eubank Jr., Conor Benn, Billam-Smith, Aaron McKenna. I really like that Billam-Smith, Aaron McKenna fight, because usually you don't see fighters like Billam-Smith in this day and age. And once again, this goes back to what Turki Al-Sheikh and the Ring are doing. In this day and age, fighting in high risk, low reward type of fights, but the money's there. He's fighting an undefeated fringe contender. He is a contender, isn't he? Isn't Aaron McKenna? I'm sorry. Let's go look at the rankings at 160 pounds. Or is it back at 154? Well, let's see if we can hear Chris Eubank Jr.
So Eubank sticking around to do a few interviews, or just...
That's the commentary. Anyway, we're waiting for the fighters to hear what they have to say after the press conference. So I'm not sure what division McKenna is in. So he's a 160-pounder. So you have Billam-Smith, who's ranked, let's see, only by the WBC at number 10 currently right now, facing an unranked fringe contender. So he's just making it into the rankings. meaning Aaron McKenna, you don't see stuff like this. I mean, very often. I'm hoping this is the norm, you know, where fighters be like, you know, fuck it, I'll fight him. So I'm really interested in this fight. I've seen this guy fight on previous cards, but never really paid attention to it. Billam-Smith, he's coming off of the 2 back-to-back Chris Eubank Jr. fights. Remember, he was supposed to fight on a Turkey Al-Sheikh card. What card was they supposed to fight on in December? What card was that? Anyway, he got injured. And he could be in line for the winner or loser, depending on what, you know, is going to happen with Conor. I mean, Chris Eubank Jr., I'm not sure if he will retire, but he's heavily linked to be fighting Canelo Alvarez in May of next year if Canelo Alvarez gets through William Scull and Terrence Crawford in September. And then May of next year, we can see Chris Eubank Jr., if he continues to win, to go on to fight Canelo. So, for example, if Chris Eubank Jr. was to win, boom, he goes on in September to possibly fight on the Canelo Crawford card and maybe Billam-Smith. And then, you know, to build him up to fight the winner next year. Also, I've heard now twice here on the broadcast from Nigel Benn that William Scull quit in sparring against Conor Benn. And that's the second time I've heard that. And why would he say if it's not true? And Canelo's fighting William Scull next week. But as I told you, William Scull is you know, I watched his last fight against Shishkin. He's not good. He's gonna be going to sleep. Canelo's gonna give him a nice nap. So anyway, as we're waiting for Conor Benn or whoever to come up on the stage for the post-fight talk, let's go back and listen to Rick Reeno. This is very important to listen to. Very important to listen to. Oh, wait. As far as the undercard is concerned, my bad, let me finish this up. Anthony Yarde's taking on Lyndon Arthur. Anthony Yarde was saying that he lost the first fight because, you know, it was COVID, a lot going on. He had lost 4 people he loved, including his father. Can understand that. I'm going to pick Anthony Yarde to win. What would be interesting is if the loser or winner goes on to fight Ben Whitaker, even though a lot of fans are talking about him also fighting Willie Hutchinson. But that would be a good fight for Ben Whitaker, who beat Liam Cameron last week, knocking him out, to go on to fight the winner or loser of this fight. Viddal Riley versus Chev Clarke. Not too much to say about this fight, but also being linked to possibly the winner of Chris Billam-Smith versus Brandon Glanton. Now, Brandon Glanton, how do you pronounce his name? He kept calling CBS a bitch, and I'm not sure where that came from. And basically was telling he said he was going to give him brain damage. I just thought that was a bit distasteful, but who am I? Let's go ahead and listen to what Rick Reeno had to say, because it was pretty powerful. It was pretty powerful. By the way, take your time out, like the video, subscribe. Here we are. Listen to this.
I look forward to this fight.
Hold on.
Live worldwide on DAZN. Bragging rights.
They may have to add me to the undercard by the end of this press.
With a professional record,
right.
A perfect one. 23 fights, 23 victories, including 14 wins by knockout. From London, England, he's the European.
Fantastic, great way to kick things off here. Rick Reeno of Ring Magazine. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to dive straight in with the teams. First of all, down there to my right, Jonathan Banks.
Did I miss something?
Team Eubank. Jonathan, you've worked with some greats of this sport. Vladimir Klitschko.
The card by the end of this press.
Of the evening. 12 with a professional record.
They may have to add me to the undercard by the end of this press conference. But, you know, I just want to say in closing...
did they clip this out?
With a professional record.
Something's telling me they clipped it out.
23 fights, 23 victories, including 14 wins by knockout. From London, England, he's the European Continental welterweight.
He might find me enough. They may have to add me to the undercard.
They clipped it out. Nah, we got to find it. Jump cut. We got to find it. They clipped it out. We got to find just jump cut. We'll be right back. Here we are.
In a quest for pride, bragging rights, family, supremacy. But as we said earlier, much more importantly than that.
Now, this is what you really were supposed to see. Now, if you go to the Ring Magazine page on their feed, they clipped this part of Rick Reeno out. Here we are. Listen to this. Listen to this.
First, I want to thank everybody for coming out and supporting this event. And, you know, I want to say, you know, make no mistake about it. This is not a Matchroom event. This is not a boxer event. This is a Ring Magazine event. This is our identity, is these stacked loaded cards. You know, when we first wanted to put cards together, you know, we looked at the marketplace, and quite honestly, there was a lot of garbage out there, a lot of garbage events being peddled. When we, you know, met with different broadcasters to, you know, show them some of the events we wanted to put together, I mean, the people at the DAZN, there were like tears in their eyes, tears of happiness, like, oh, you're going to present this to us?
And now it's muted.
Like this?
Oh, wait.
And we said, we promise, we won't go away. It won't be 1 or 2 events. There'll be plenty of events. So the people that, you know, the promoters that partner with us, they know their fighters are going to be in tough fights. There's no gimmies. Every now and then they try to, you know, sneak a stinker under there, think we won't notice. I swear, this guy's good, mate. He's good. It'll be a good fight. And, you know, we just cross it right off and put on evenly matched fights. And this main event is no different. And, you know, people could say what they want. You know, you hear a lot of comments when this fight was made, but it takes a lot to get to this level where Chris and Conor are at. And it even takes more when you know, some people may say, oh, you know, they got a famous last name. It's even tougher when you got a famous last name. When you're a nobody, your surname's unknown, you lose a fight, people just look the other way. When you got a famous name like these guys, you know, they lose a fight, they say, ah, I knew he wasn't as good as his old man. Ah, the guy's no good. It takes a lot. It's easy to say anything from the sidelines, but it takes a lot to get to this level, and it's even much tougher when your father's a legend. There's a lot riding on this fight with these two guys, and, you know, it's one of those fights, I don't know which way it's going to go. People I talk to, 1 week they're siding with Chris, next week they're siding with Conor. No idea which way it's going to go. It's just one of those fights, like someone stated earlier, you're going to remember it years down the line, and those are the types of events we want to do, whether it's this, whether it's Times Square, Alcatraz, the event we're doing in July in New York. We want to do stacked cards, evenly matched fights, because, you know, we don't want to be peddling garbage out there like a lot of other people are. I don't want to name any names. I won't say if any guilty parties are with me right now, but I could say a lot more, but I know Robert Smith is out here with his ticket book. I don't want to get into any trouble. He might find me enough. They may have to add me to the undercard by the end of this press conference. But, you know, I just want to say in closing, it's going to be a massive event. I look forward to this fight. And, you know, we have the stadium, and we have the fighters here, and we've even had the eggs. So we're ready. Let's go.
Okay, Rick, thank you very much. That was fantastic. Great way to kick things.
So he's the guy that the Saudis have put in charge of putting all this together. So the promoters, they're pretty much just acting as managers at this point, because the Ring Magazine is running the show. And as you can see, they have gotten a significant boost in funding over the last several months. Anyway, moving on, I want you to hear what Nigel said when it came to, oh, and by the way, Chris Eubank Jr. wouldn't let Eddie Hearn or Frank Smith, the second in command at Matchroom, speak at all. Got pretty ugly there. But I want you to hear what Nigel had to say about what's going on in the camp. Normally, you don't, it's like taboo to talk about what's going on in sparring, and obviously he knows, Nigel, and he's going to acknowledge it as well. And also, you have to take into account, you don't know what type of shape a fighter's going to show up in sparring. You know, that's just going to practice. You don't know if they was drinking the night before, partying, slept late, maybe, you know, kids, you know, sick kind of, you don't know. So, you know, you've heard many stories over the year, oh, this person did this in sparring, this happened. Sparring is just sparring at the end of the day. But still, a guy like Conor Benn, and especially so close to a fight, you know, you don't never want to get out that a guy as small as Conor Benn is, you know, making the IBF 168-pound champion who's going to be fighting one of the best fighters, top 5 best fighters in the world, Canelo Alvarez, next week. You don't want him to get out that
You've passed on to Conor this week.
Do you know what? I watched him. You know the saying goes, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But what happens in Mallorca, I'm telling. I am telling. And I'll tell you about Conor's sparring, and God is my witness. First, he started sparring with Denzel Bentley, super middleweight, but really at light heavy. Had his hands full with Conor. I mean, Conor was just going through it, 10 rounds, done it easy. Then he was sparring with a guy that knocked out Munguia, Bruno, I can't remember his last name, Ceres. Been sparring with him, another light heavy. Conor was bullying him around. And then to put the cherry on top, he started sparring with a guy called Scull, an IBF champion, who's fighting a week after Conor. Coming there 12-handed, shouldn't say it, but you know what, because for the last 2 years, all I've been hearing negative, I'm going to tell you about my son. The first 4 rounds, him and Conor were even Stevens, and they were going, oh, perfecto, 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 every time he was hitting Conor. Conor was just walking him down. Then I found about round, I think 5, he was like, no, because Conor only has 40 seconds rest. And then what he was doing in between the middle of the rounds, he was sitting on the rope because he was tired. Then it came to round 5, 6, 7, started feeling the pace. This is Scull, IBF champion.
Superstar.
Then after that,
damn,
you can't
exposed
shut me
him.
up, mate, because you ain't been where I've been, mate. Behave yourself. But anyway, but then what happened? Round 8 came.
Uh-oh.
And then, Tony, we looked at each other and we thought, he just quit. He just stopped. Couldn't take no more. After 8 rounds, meant to be doing 10 rounds. And me and Tony looked at each other and think, what the friggin' hell just happened there? And I got my boy and I thought, my little boy. He just damaged the IBF world champion. And you know what it is? I am so confident this don't go past 4 rounds. I know my son. Back him all the way. And Conor's not a 12-round fighter. He's an old school fighter that can do 15 rounds. But you're going to see him, mate, the power that he's got. No one ain't seen him for the last 2 years. Oh my gosh. You lot are in for a treat. Mark my word, you are in for a big, big treat. Thank you all very much.
Nigel Benn, 2-weight world champion.
So, Conor Benn is significantly smaller, like noticeably smaller. I'm interested to see how both of these fighters are going to look at the weigh-in tomorrow. We're going to be here after that as well. From my understanding, there is a rehydration clause. There's going to be a weigh-in tomorrow where both fighters have to weigh in under the 160 or under. Then the day of the weigh-in, the day of the fight, from my understanding, is you can't be rehydrated more than 10 pounds. Eddie Hearn is predicting that Conor Benn's going to come into the ring about 162 or so, 160, no more than 167, I think he said. I think he said 162. And Eubank Jr. can come in as high as 175. Now here's the thing. Eubank Jr. is older You know, and he is somewhat of a slow starter. The question is, can Conor Benn's chin hold up, and how does he look going late? In fact, has Conor Benn, let me see, has he ever been 12? This is a 12-round fight, by the way. Eubank Jr., 34-3, 25 KOs. You know, he got stopped by Billam-Smith and then went on to stop him. You know, in fact, he went the distance with Liam Williams. I like this fight. Wasn't he with Roy Jones? He looked really good. Only one loss since losing to George Groves when people were telling him he should retire. Since then. We talked about his resume in my video before this, but what I'm trying to say is Conor is going to be dangerous early. I think that's just well known. You know, he's going to come out there firing and try to get him out of there. He did go 12 in his last fight. He didn't look good. The fight before that, he went 10. But you can also say, well, if he ain't knocked these guys out, he ain't knocking out Eubank Jr., who's only been stopped once. And you have to argue now, you know, and Eddie Hearn brought it up, is, well, how is his chin going to look, you know, after he got stopped by Billam-Smith? He'd never been stopped before, but then he came back and put a boot in Billam-Smith's ass. So let me say this, though. The card, to give it a grade, I can give this card a B. Not a B plus, because that's close to an A minus. But I can give this a B. It's not a B minus because that's close to a C plus. I'm giving it a solid B. Because all these fights on here could have been their own main event before the Saudis stepped in. Sky Sports would have main evented Chris Billam-Smith's return against Brandon Glanton. Remember, he just lost his title, his other belt, to Gilberto Ramirez in his last fight. So they would make that a main event. The British title, that would be a Sky Sports action main event for Viddal, Riley, and Chev Clarke. Anthony Yarde, Lyndon, Author, you know, that would definitely be a Sky Sports main event, or, you know, TNT. What were they before that? BT Sport. Billam-Smith, McKenna, that would be a main event on the zone. All these fights would be main events. The only gripe I have is Chris Eubank Jr. kind of been here in the States is $25. You know, we got to pay $25 for that. You know, where the zone pack, like in the States, the zone package would give us these fights for free. You know, we weren't paying for up until what? Fury, Usyk. I don't remember which one. Did it start with Joshua? I don't remember. But we weren't paying for overseas fights. We were getting them a part of our subscription, because let's face it, Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr., they're not known by the casual fans over here. Nobody but YouTube and social media are carrying the promotion for the stateside coverage of this fight. It's not on no major networks. Nobody's saying nothing about it nowhere. So $25, that kind of pisses me off. So here's my prediction. Eubank Jr., Billam-Smith, Aaron McKenna, but I will not be surprised by McKenna upset. Something just is, I don't know. It's just, I got to, you know, something about this fight. I'm picking Anthony Yarde. I'm going to go with Chev Clarke over Viddal Riley. And Chris Billam-Smith, Glanton, I'm going to go, I don't know. I'm going to go with CBS. With that being said, take your time out, like the video, subscribe. I'm TstreeT Controversy with Fight View 360. And make sure you drop a like, and see you guys tomorrow after the weigh-in.